What's up, No Load Time? Joel here. We are doing a John Wick Chapter 4 spoilers review. If you've seen any of the No Load Time movie reviews in the past, you know that I've done in the very beginning, traditionally, a non-spoilers impressions and then talk spoilers. I'm not doing that today. Today, we're going to jump straight into spoilers. So if you have not seen John Wick Chapter 4, then please go ahead, stop the video, come back. Please come back after you've seen the movie and watch this review. There's just so much with this movie to talk about, and to not talk about spoilers would just be very challenging. I'm not saying impossible, but very challenging. Right, let's jump into it. So again, you've been warned. This is completely spoilers, 100%. Let's go. All right, John Wick Chapter 4. This is, as you know, a continuation of a series that is centered around a man who is the boogeyman, the Baba Yaga, as they refer to him, right? This guy that is just extremely skilled at taking people out. And in this movie, you finally get past the point of how does he get his freedom? How does John actually get out of this vicious cycle where he was, if you remember from the first movie, he did not want to be the boogeyman anymore. He didn't want to be in the fight anymore. He wanted to be free, and he had lost his wife. And, you know, we all, if you've watched any other movies, you know how, you know, fortunately what brought him back in was, you know, someone messed with the dog that his wife gave to him, and that just pulled him completely back into this big arc around getting redemption, getting revenge, really. So with this one, it's not that he's seeking vengeance as much. I mean, there's revenge that comes into it after the fact, but before he even knows what's going on, with the hotel management, with the unfortunate passing of the concierge, or murder of the concierge. Before any of that, when you jump right into the very beginning of the movie, you guys will remember how, he's hunting down, John is hunting down people who are at the high table. And look, I think that makes sense. Like, he said, if I remember him looking right at the screen, like, tell them I'm coming for them. I'm coming for all of them, right? In the last film, and that's what they're doing. Like, he's continuing on his mission of, like, you know what? The only way to end this is to end all of them. But what I appreciate with this movie is when you see how, the manager of, the hotel, how when he has to, stand before this member of the high table who ends up unfortunately killing the concierge, who, rest in peace, the actor who portrays him, who recently passed away. Obviously, really wish him and his family well. I'm very sad to see that, but it's ironic how, and somewhat almost poetic how, his character passes in this movie, and it just so happens in real life he unfortunately passed away, and how this movie is kind of based around getting also vengeance for his murder in this movie. I thought that's just really interesting that's just so happened that was a part of the narrative from beforehand. And so, when the manager, when he tells John, the only way to do this right, like, because you know how this guy's been killed, you see how they're holding me accountable, is like, you still can go after the high table, but you gotta play by their rules. And that's the one thing I love about the John Wick movies, is like, as much as you could think like this is anarchy and this guy's just a killer and just doing all this stuff, there are rules involved in how these people operate. This whole idea of the high table, and everyone is below the table, and they have to follow in this customs, and there's rules to how the game is played. Obviously, you remember how no killings have been done, are allowed to be done in the hotel, and you see that with the hotel, in the second movie, which leads into the third movie of John being excommunicado, and then now leads to this here, where he's like, he broke one rule, now they want him killed. It's just all built around this big lore and mythology that's been built out in the John Wick world, which is just fascinating and just done so well. Anyways, yeah, so John's vengeance getting back at the high table has to be done by the rules and challenged by combat, which is like, okay, that's the only way John would know how to win, right? Is using his skills to take down. He couldn't defeat them with money or with, any other way. Like, it has to be by combat. But the way they bring in all these other characters, right? Like, you bring in then Donnie Yen's character, right? Kane. And Kane being someone who knew John before, and he has a daughter, and he gave his eyes away, his eyesight up. They don't really explain how, but he says that he gave his eyesight up, for the table, right? And how he was also retired the same way that John was retired, from being a boogeyman, and how this high table individual who is hunting John down because he knows John's coming for him too, right? It's kind of a kill or be killed, who was the same person who killed the concierge, that the manager's saying challenge this guy and then the table will leave you alone. He pulls in this guy Kane, who's connected to John, and brings more of a backstory again, into this whole thing, and Kane being a blind assassin. What a just awesome arc. Donnie Yen's character's performance is just phenomenal. Like, I mean, he just, in my opinion, probably had some of the best acting in the entire movie. Um, that's not shame on anyone else, but like, it's just insane how good it was done, how well his performance was, and how well his character was really set up. Continue on with that though, like, then you start looking into the storyline around you know how John has to now continue on trying to get the tight table, but he's also still kind of on the run for his life. How he ends up in Japan, that whole sequence of in Japan, my favorite. That's my favorite in this movie. And there, in general, throughout, like, the action is consistent. Like, all the action scenes are obviously just done incredibly well. Stunts are really good. Martial arts are really good. But it's not just because, like, the fight, but it's just like the whole arc. It almost felt like a separate movie. It almost reminded me a little bit, if anybody had ever seen the Wolverine movie, the one before Logan, that tied in, that standalone Hugh Jackman movie, The Wolverine, where he's in Japan. Like, that felt very similar to what they did in the Japan sequence here with, with John, and John being hiding at a brand new Continental, that's, or not brand new, a new to us Continental, right, in Japan. I just love how we're seeing, like, there's Continentals, these hotels for the hit people all over the world. I've seen the movie before. We saw that with Halle Berry's character, right, in the Middle East and Egypt. And so, like, you're seeing that here again. Like, here's another place, just expanding the lore. And I felt like it's like a separate movie. It could be, and we'll talk about post credits in a bit, but like, even that even again sets up, like, it could be a spinoff of its own kind. We already know spinoffs are coming, but conversation for another day. Sticking to this movie though, I do think that then also bringing in the nobody character who shows up in this continental sequence in Japan, and then continues throughout, being somebody who's hunting John, trying to raise the price of John's head. He had it already in his booklet. You see it from the beginning, okay, 15 million, 20 million, 40 million, 50 million. Like, he knew, like, this is how much money I hope to get. And he knows that I can pull on the strings of this high table individual to get him to pay me this money. And he was looking for basically a last job. Like, John's like the ultimate guy. If I could take John out, he literally was like, put this money in my 401k and put it in my regular bank. I thought it was hilarious, but like, he's thinking, hey, I'm this is the job to end all jobs. Like, I can be on the run. Which, as you see, retirement doesn't really work out well in this world. But that's a simple fun joke. But yeah, like, so his character I thought was really cool, because I don't know how, if any of you guys are watching this, if you've seen the movie Nobody, literally just called Nobody, like, that was on the same creator of John Wick. And then this man refers to himself as Mr. Nobody. Is that coincidence? Does that mean that this is a crossover technically, that Nobody character exists in the John Wick universe? I think so. I honestly really do think so. I've not gone and read anything, looked into anything. This is just me thinking, putting two and two together. I think most people thought that when they saw the Nobody movie, like, hey, this could actually connect to the John Wick world. The way it was done was very, very John Wick. But the way that they had a different Mr. Nobody, in essence, in this film, it feels to me like this would be the way you connect it. Like there are these people who refer to themselves as Mr. Nobodies that are still part of this world. He was not a part of a specific creed that we're aware of that's known through the high table. So like he doesn't serve the table, it seemed like, but he was aware of assassination contracts. So which would be consistent with what we knew from the other Nobody movie that I'm talking about. So just interesting, and I think that also shows like you could tie in other franchises. You also can spin out to these other franchises and continue them on and just keep it all connected. Just phenomenal. Anyways, yeah, with the way this movie just plays out all the way to the end, the last fight, with Donnie Yen's character Kane and Keanu's John Wick character, and them kind of seemed like they planned how they were going to take out this high table individual. Like I just, to me, it was just so well done, because I'm sitting in the theater and I'm going, I really don't know if they're gonna just where like they just kill John, or John just wins the shootout and that's just it. The trial by combat, and then somehow he's still gonna have to take on this high table guy and kill him. But there's gonna be repercussions for the fifth movie. No, they close the chapter on this. Like it's done really creatively. It's can seem convenient, but to me, it just absolutely worked. It was a cool like sit back and just watch it unfold. I think that's good cinema. Like, don't make me have think too hard, but also make me go like, I really don't want to figure this out. Let me just sit here and watch and just enjoy. So entertaining from that standpoint. Loved that. I then there's a post credit sequence. If you remember, like I said, the Japanese scene really really good. The daughter of the lead samurai that basically was the manager of that hotel, that gives his life for John. That was Joe and John's friends. Kane's character says to the daughter, I'll see you again soon. And kind of knowing like, hey, she's probably going to come back after you. And you get to that post-credit scene where she's about to kill this guy, and it just cuts, the camera cuts. I personally don't think that she kills him right away that easily. But it just shows me like they really can continue this thing, whether it's through, that doesn't necessarily mean John Wick Chapter 5, but it means like the John Wick world. These other characters have these deep motivations, the same way that John had the motivation through his wife and through the dog that was kind of an extension of his wife, the puppy that his wife gave him that passed away. It's like this is like for her very personal, because she loses her father to this man, who this man took the father out because he's trying to get the John. Connected world, but very deeply personal reasons for why she'd want to go after him, where she wasn't trying to hunt anyone before. Like she's almost been turned into this. I think like that's consistent with the grounds of motivations in the John Wick world, the way John was with his wife. It's very family, it's very personal, hits home. So yeah, I mean I have so many different thoughts, so much going on. I think this is just me just jumping on, just talking through what I was thinking right away. I hope if you saw the movie, you could go ahead and drop some comments down below. Tell me what you thought about it, overall opinions. I thought it was good. I liked it. For what it is. These movies are very grotesque, very violent. The stunts are done really, really well. And it's a long movie. For me, the reason it's long is not because scenes necessarily need to be cut out, because every scene was intentional. It's just long because they let the action just go. Like you have literally like 20-30 minute intervals of just pure action just happening. Consistently just spread up throughout this movie, where you're like, this fight just keeps on going. They don't cut it short at all. So I think that's what really makes the movie long. It's not long because you have a bunch of these random scenes. Like every scene's important, but there's just certain scenes are just longer because it's just a long fight. They're just letting the fights play out. Man, so many thoughts to think about, so much stuff to think about. Hope you all enjoyed this quick review. Like I said, drop your comments down below. Tell me what you thought about it. Please subscribe to our podcast, our YouTube channel here, and I will be with you all soon. Next week, we're going to have some more content coming through. As always, we drop weekly content, so make sure you're subscribed, like the video, share it with your friends and family, and we'll see you next time. Bye.